next steps, conversations to help you achieve your potential. My name is Stephen Bouchon, and today I want to talk about sort of a continuation of what I talked about the last time we were together in the last video. If you recall, what I was talking about was sort of having a career plan. I was talking about life planning. I was talking about sort of defining a future state, the thing that you wanted to achieve, and then coming back and creating milestones over time that would help you get there. I encourage you to go back and look at that video, or if you go to my website, I'll put up a little synopsis there where you can actually maybe download the synopsis as well as the template that I shared last week. One of the questions that came out of last week's video, or the last video we did, was about purpose, about getting to that endpoint. People had questions. Well, how do you define your purpose? What is my purpose? When I work with my clients in my coaching practice, that's often one of the first things we do is we say, okay, at this point in time, so let's focus on sort of your purpose, the thing that you want to achieve, the goals that you have, and then we can actually work towards getting to them and achieving those goals. So there are a couple of different ways, and purpose means different things to different people. What I did is, in anticipation of this video, I found a few definitions of purpose that I think align with my feelings, my beliefs as to what we mean about purpose. And sort of, you can see them here. And I'll zoom in so that you can see that. But purpose is the reason we do something. Okay? It's the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. Another definition is when you do something with purpose, you do it with determination. When your activities have a purpose, you have an aim or an intention in mind. Intention is an important word there. And the last one from Merriam-Webster is something set up as an object or an end to be attained. It's an intention, it could be a resolution or determination. So purpose isn't this, when I think about purpose, and when we think about purpose when you talk about career planning, talking about life planning, it is really about how you want to be, what you want to be intentional about achieving. Okay? It may be an endpoint, maybe a milestone, but you have intention to get there. You're making decisions because you want to be active in getting to where you want to go. And that was the whole idea about using purpose as one thing to help define that point for you in the future that you want to achieve, and then you'll milestone plan back from there. So how do you define purpose? How do you define, or how do you get in touch with, how do you understand a little bit more about what your purpose might be? Because sometimes it can be really hard for people when you just ask them, so what's your purpose? Blank stares. So over the course of my career, I've worked a lot in the area of strategic planning. I've worked in the area of scenario planning, thinking of alternative futures, thinking about visioning for teams, for departments, and for individuals. So I'm going to go through three exercises, three things that you can do to begin thinking and unraveling or putting some definition around your purpose, that which you want to be intentional about achieving. So the first one is one I started using many years ago. In fact, it started back when I was in the auto industry at General Motors, and we were coming up with alternative futures and thinking about different scenarios for the future. And one of the exercises we came up with, can't say we invented it, but it's one of the things that we started using, was to think about what an article written about you, or in this case the department, what it would be 10 years from now. So you can pick the time horizon. Is it next year? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years, 15 years? Is it at your retirement? But think about an article in a publication or on a website that you respect, okay, where you go for your own information. And what they're doing is they've decided to highlight one of the most successful contributors to that space, you. And so you go through an interview with them, and the journalist comes up with, you come up with all the key points, you get interviewed, and the article gets written. And so the exercise is for you to write that article. So imagine you're 10 years away from now, 15 years away, and you're reading the article about you. What are the key bullet points? What are the key things that are talked about that you contributed that made you successful in whatever it was? It could be, at a business, it could be raising funds, it could be supporting a charity, it could be, it could be redoing a car, for example. It could be, coming up with launching a new business, transforming an industry. Whatever it is that is important to you, there's an article being written about it, and it's starting to highlight those bullet points. So the exercise is for you to write that article. And if you can't write the article, just write some of the bullet points that are there, some of the key accomplishments you had over that time period, over those 5, those 10, those 15 years. What are some of the key changes that resulted because of you being there? What are some of the key impacts you had on your community, on the business, on your department, on the industry? What are those? Okay? And so you write that out. Now, the key thing is, spend 10, 15, 20 minutes doing it, but not a lot. I mean, it's not a real heady exercise. It's just get in touch with the future, those accomplishments that you had over that period of time, and just write them out. Often 10 to 15 minutes we'll do it, maybe 20 minutes, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about it. So what you can do is if we're not working together, what you can do is you can write that out and then go back and reflect on it and think about what was it that was important about those different things. And that can begin to define that end point, that end state for you. And again, it can change, but it's good to have that listed out. The second exercise, this is a guided visualization. I'll talk about 2 guided visualizations that we used during my training as a coactive coach. And this is used to help, and I use this with my clients often very early in our coaching relationship, to help identify sort of that resonant future that they want to achieve. So the first one goes something like this. It's early in the morning. You're sitting out there. You're on a porch. You're looking out over a large piece of grass, and it's sort of falling away to a body of water. It's early. It's calm. You've got a cup of your favorite morning brew, whatever that be. You're smelling it. You smell all that's around you. So you're getting into this state of calm. You understand what's going on. It's going to be a good day. The day that it's going to be such a great day is the day that people are going to come together to celebrate you. And what happens in the visualization? So we start walking through, your family starts to come around you, and they start, acknowledging all that you've been for them, all that you've, given to them, what you've meant, the guidance you provided, the impact you've had there. And then, friends come around, and they start talking about it as well. And some colleagues, people you worked with 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even at the start of your career, but people you've had an impact on. And they're coming and talking to you about, the difference you've made in their lives, the difference you've made in their ability to contribute. And then all of a sudden you've got these people that are, you don't even recognize them, but they're people who are coming, and they're thanking you, and they're acknowledging the impact you've had on their lives by what you've done. And then all of a sudden you're getting these letters, you're getting these cards with messages of thanks and acknowledgement of the impact you've had, the contribution that you've made, the changes that you've brought, to all those around you, those you've touched directly, those you've touched indirectly. And then what you do is sort of, as we come to a close around that visualization, sort of just think about what some of those key messages, so those key acknowledgments, those key impacts that people were acknowledging. Okay, and then when we close, you just write those down and you sort of capture them, and you keep them present as elements of your purpose, sort of something that's a resonant purpose for you. The third exercise is, it's a little more summary, but it has the same impact. So you've been given for a year a billboard. And it's a billboard where thousands of people are going to see it every day. It may be in a subway, the metro, it may be at Times Square, it may be over along a highway, but it's a place where thousands of people are going to see it every day. And it's your billboard. And on your billboard, you can put anything you want. Images, words, colors, anything you want. And then you think about, what is that message? What are the words? What do you see on that billboard? It's going to have an impact on thousands of people. They're going to see it every day. So what is that? What does that billboard look like? As you think about that, you ponder it. You can draw it out. You can, recreate it as a graphic, or you can just write out what the messages were. And then what you do is, as you close, once that's done, again, you have some more elements about what are important things for you to convey. What are the impacts you want to have? So the idea is you can take these three different approaches, whether it be the article, celebrating your impact, or coming up with the billboard. You can go through those, and you have elements of that endpoint, that place you want to get to, the thing you want to achieve in a period of time. And then from there, you can begin stepping back in the milestones that'll be necessary for you to achieve it. And again, if you recall from the last time, those milestones, they're not really prescriptive. They should be descriptive. And they should also allow that if something changes, you can take another path to help you get there. Okay, remember, think about the vacation planning and life planning, how they, and career planning, and how they mirror one another. So that's all I wanted to talk about today, just to give a little more insight when I talked about purpose in the last video, what I meant by it. Some other questions came in about value, and I'll talk about values and the way I think about value, similar to the way we just did about purpose. And I hope this was useful. I really, really encourage you to think about your purpose and think about putting words around it. And then once you sort of landed on something, it doesn't need to be perfect. It can change. In fact, when you have a major life change, let's say you get married, let's say you have children, let's say you change jobs, let's say you move to a different place, it can change. All those things change us. So don't be married to it or locked into it, but write it down and then put it up someplace where you can see it and look at it, every day, every other day, whatever. But just to remind you about when you want to be intentional about what you're doing, when you want to be intentional about your career, when you want to be intentional about your life, these are the things you're going to be thinking of. So that's it for today. Stay tuned for the next steps, next steps conversations to help you achieve your full potential. Thank you very much. Again, Stephen Bouchon, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.